I'm Cece Summers. Welcome back to 14 Days with You. Day 5 has been released and there has been a major overhaul, so a lot of things look a lot different. There's going to be different apps, there's new characters. I'm only going to be going through day 5, so I would highly recommend checking out the full game on itch.io. It is free. The download for it is in the description if you want to go check it out. Anyways, without further ado, let's go piss off Ren! Rather than the faint chirping of birds outside my window, it's the sound of something buzzing that rudely pulls me from my slumber. Muscle memory immediately kicks in, causing me to haphazardly throw my arm above my head and fumble around in search of the noise. When my hand lands on what I think is my phone, I groggily pull it closer to see what all the fuss is about. My boss's name flashes on the screen, causing me to awaken fully, and I unlock my phone to read his message. Library will be closed today for pesticide spraying. Bookworms are back. You will get paid leave, Conan. Well, that was relatively short and to the point, much like how Conan is always known to be. Though, he was never really the type to substitute letters with numbers. That's very suspicious. He was always more of the punctual type, I guess. Oh well, maybe Eleanor was giving him texting lessons again. Or perhaps his daughter, Alice? Was she even old enough to text? Before I can let my thoughts wander, I instead busy myself with drafting a response before haphazardly throwing my phone onto the empty space near my bed and letting out a sigh. Well, now that I've got the day off, I wonder what I should do today. Before I can decide on something, my phone goes off for what feels like the 100th time this morning, and I fish around for it with another groan. Not bothering to look at the screen this time, I swipe my finger across the screen to answer the call. Wait, call? Hey there, sleepyhead. I've got something big to share with you. Do you remember how I told you about that drawing raffle I won? You know, the other day when you were getting ready for that double date. Good morning to you too. And yeah, kinda. I definitely remember you bringing it up, but I'm pretty sure you started gushing about recent AOG spoilers like 5 seconds later. Damn, that does sound like me. Whoops. Well, there's no harm in telling you again. No distractions this time, right? With a tired laugh, I nod my head and give Moth a thumbs up. Not at all. Right. Drum roll, please. Guess who won a free trip to New Salvis? Me! That's who! No way! Yes way. I'm passing through Corlin Bay right now, and I figured if you were still in the area, maybe we could... Do you want to meet up? Knowing that this could potentially be the first time I meet Moth in person, I don't bother to hide my joy and excitement. Finally, after years and years of video calls and messaging each other online, we now had the chance to do it face to face. But before my thoughts could delve any further, Moth interrupts in a tone equally excited as mine. Would that be okay? I mean, a shuttle won't pick me up until tomorrow morning, so I haven't got much planned, and I wouldn't want to intrude on your plans or anything. I know this is all so sudden, and we've never actually met in person yet or even made any plans to... Hey, it's fine. I could show you around the bay, take you to the infamous beach from Attack on Giants. Say less. I'll be waiting for you at our special place, or whatever the meme is. Anyway, I'll be at the ferry terminal, and don't make me wait too long. Watching the ocean makes me feel nauseous. Also, I want to be the one who hangs up first. Bye! Before I can get a word in, Moth flashes me a cheeky grin and ends the call. Letting out a puff of laughter at their antics, I eagerly get ready to start my day. Now appropriately dressed and prepared to face the day, I barely take 2 steps out of my apartment before the muffled sounds of chatter capture my attention. Glancing towards the only functioning elevator on the far side of the hallway, I notice Violet and Ren in what seems to be an animated conversation, though it looks like my neighbor was the one doing most of the talking. Oh, hello, Cece. Good morning. Heading somewhere exciting today? Just on my way to the ferry terminal. Angel! I can practically see sparkly particle effects appear around Ren's face as he beams at me with a sunny smile. The next thing I know, he pivots away from Violet, beelines towards me, and invades my personal space by curiously leaning closer. Hi? And wow, isn't this an unlikely surprise? Oh yeah? I actually bumped into Violet this morning while on my walk. We started talking about you and she mentioned something about being your neighbor. I did? Yeah. You also asked if I wanted to follow you upstairs to see if Cece was home, and, well, here we are. Oh. I see. I could have sworn I went upstairs to check... No, never mind. Violet seems somewhat confused at the legitimacy of Ren's words, but ultimately brushes it off with a shake of her head. Is everything all right with her? Well, I should probably let you both be on your way then. Have fun, you two. Before either of us can muster a response, Violet swiftly turns on her heel and makes her way towards her apartment. A wave of concern washes over me as I notice how she ignores the potted plant by her door. Normally, she'd give it a pet or even bring it inside on certain days, but Ren's timid voice pulls me away from my thoughts and captures my attention. So, you said something about visiting the ferry terminal earlier? Oh, right. I was on my way to meet my online friend, actually. Yeah? That sounds exciting. But is it really good practice to be meeting some random strangers online? His concern is almost palpable, and it strikes a chord with me. And although Ren definitely had a valid point, Moth was no stranger. All 5 years of our friendship can attest to that. However, I did appreciate his concern nonetheless. In fact, it reminds me so much of Haruko and how he'd always look out for the safety of his friends. All of a sudden, a mischievous thought crosses my mind. One that involves Moth and the real-life manifestation of Haruko. Oh yeah, they definitely freak out if they ever saw Ren in the flesh. With such an ingenious plan now firmly hatched in my mind, I turned to him with a faux innocent glint in my eyes. Rennie Pooh, my favorite pink-haired guy. Did you want to come along? You want me to join? Yeah, sure, of course. I even know the quickest route to the ferry. You can count on me. And that's how Ren and I find ourselves catching a ride to the promenade to meet Moth. The salty aroma of the sea is the first thing I notice before a large ferry boat comes into view. Let's just try to keep this meeting as brief as possible and send them on their way before Ren tries to murder them in the face. Ren becomes a temporary second thought the moment I realize who might be on that ship, and I hurriedly make my way towards the dock where Moth is waiting. Cece! Moth! Cece! Moth! Almost immediately, Moth runs towards me with outstretched arms before pulling me into a warm hug. Their excitement is almost palpable as they laugh in my ear and give me the tightest squeeze I've ever experienced. They nearly sweep me off my feet, too, had it not been for the potential safety hazards of swinging someone around on a slippery dock. Man, I couldn't wait to get off that thing. Never again am I going to ride on a ferry. Ever. Ever. But oh my god, you're actually here. You're real. And you're taller than I expected, too. And whoa, I love your outfit. Must be the shoes. I have to get a similar pair of... Holy shit, is that... You're joking. You're actually joking. Is this real? No way, the real-life Haruko is standing before my eyes right now. Following Moth's gaze, I notice Ren sheepishly walk up to the both of us and stand by my side. He doesn't seem to greet Moth in any way, but just as I turn around to fully face him, Ren removes a hand from his pocket and gives a shy wave. I guess I've gotten so used to Ren being more forward around me that I almost forgot about his reserved side. It's nice to meet you. I'm, Ren. Holy... You even sound just like him. Wait, don't tell me. Do you also win... Shit, did I say that out loud? Dude. Whatever, doesn't matter. You can't blame me when I've got the real-life Haruko standing in front of me right now. Where'd you get your hair done? Can you save me from a giant? Do you need a spouse? God, I've seen what you've done for others. Moth! I've never seen them so animated before. It was almost hard to believe that this was the same Moth who'd always shy away from social situations. Sorry, I'll try to tone it back. Keyword being try here. But for real though, thanks for coming out and meeting me like this. I know it's really last minute. Not at all. I had nothing planned for today anyway, and I'm glad Ren was willing to tag along. Of course. I like making you happy. He really is Haruko. Oh, it's Ren. And I guess, well, apart from the hair, I suppose it's just a major coincidence that Haruko and I happen to act the same. Yeah, coincidence. It's one of the reasons why he's my favorite character, actually. It's hard to miss the way Ren looks at me when he mentions Haruko as his favorite, but it happens all too quickly that I fear it was just a trick of my imagination. Yeah, I like him because he's hot. Plus, he whimpers and pouts in the most cutest way whenever he's upset. I almost laugh at the way Ren's eyes widen at Moth's words. Also, have you seen him in the latest episode? I swear, the animators knew what they were doing when they ripped his uniform. Wait, I haven't seen it yet. Don't spoil it. Oh, shit, sorry, see, my bad. But hey, if you've got the time, why don't we all watch it together later? Sounds like fun, don't you think, Angel? I wasn't expecting Ren to join in, much less witness Moth be so social with someone. But then again, much like me, Moth has been obsessed with Attack on Giants since it first came out, so it made sense for them to be able to gush about it without any restraint. Plus, it was nice to see Moth having fun, so who was I to put a stop to it? Speaking of, did I tell you the reason I'm here in the first place? Well, you know about that one anime convention being held in New Salvis. They were hosting this AOG art contest online, so naturally I joined, and I won. So now I get to go to the convention for free, and I get to have one-on-one time with all the voice actors. I mean, come on, I finally get the chance to talk to the voice actor for Haruko. This is like a dream come true. I wonder if I can get him to say he wants to marry me. Wait, why didn't I know about this? Yeah, now that you mention it, it is kind of strange how you never said anything to me. You must be really busy with work, huh? Work? I guess you could say that. However, with everything that's been happening recently, I'm not entirely sure I can blame my distractions on my job. And I love Attack on Giants. It's weird how I never got any recommendations or ads about the convention online. So much for personalized feeds. Well, don't worry about it too much. I'll be sure to buy you all the Haruko charms I can find. I mean, I still owe you, don't I? Besides, the convention isn't until tomorrow, and we've still got an entire day to kill. Didn't you once say you wanted to show me some of the sights here? Aw, you remembered? Well, since we're all here already, why don't we start with the main beach? Oh, but you don't really like the water, do you? Maybe we can just... They don't? Yeah. Though it's not really the water that gets to me. It's what's lurking beyond. Unknown creatures, ships, and planes that go missing for no reason. Endless depths that have yet to be explored. Yeah, no, not for me. Oh, and I almost drowned as a kid. What? Unfortunately for you, Cece, you'll need to unlock my level 80 friendship to hear that one. Now, what did you say about a beach? After what happens in the latest episode, I hope to see Haruko's glorious butt imprint in the sand. Please don't look at me when you say that. Aw. Bit of a walk, huh? From the ferry terminal? Yeah, it's not far from my place, though. Wait, for real? You live around here? See that building over there? The tall one? Ren quickly moves out of the way as Moth squints in the direction I'm pointing at. It takes them a moment, but their eyes finally land on one building in particular before they turn to me with a concerned look. The one with the ratty sign that's about to fall off its hinges? Yeah, that one. Oh, it's, nice. Not too shabby. But damn, it's really close to the beach, huh? I bet you get a good view of the ocean from up there. Actually, the main street blocks my... Cece? And Ron, right? Hey, hey, hey! Fat Albert. A familiar voice calls out from somewhere behind us before Jay emerges from one of the buildings and jogs towards us with a bounce in his step. It's Ren. Ah, shit, sorry. So it's Ren, huh? Ren. Alright, stored that in my brain. I could have sworn I heard Leon call you Ron, though. But it's nice to finally put a name to the face. You weren't what I was expecting, to be honest. But that's not important right now. What are you guys doing out here so early? I thought you had to work today, Cece. I've actually got the day off. My boss said something about bookworms, I think. So I'm spending the day showing my friend Moth around Corlin Bay. They're new here. Now that you mention it, yeah, your friend does kind of have that touristy look about him. So your name is Moth, huh? That's such a cool name. I'm Jay Hyun. Feel free to call me Jay, though. That's so much easier to remember, huh? Though I totally won't blame you guys if you start calling me Joe or something. I mean, think about it, Ron and Joe, an unlikely duo on the hunt for more hair dye. Haha. Hair dye? Yeesh, tough crowd today. Ah, right. I'd almost forgotten how shy Moth gets around people they don't know. Unlike talking to strangers online, there was no safety or comfort in having a screen to hide behind in real life. Part of me wonders if this might be the reason why they seem so out of place right now. But this isn't the time to ask, and I didn't want to make Moth feel any more uncomfortable than they already were. So, were you guys heading to the beach too? I heard the swell is going to be so good today. We are, actually. I wanted to show Moth the infamous Giant's Cove. Nice. Here's hoping that there won't be too many tourists there today. It's still early, so maybe they're all... Oh, wait. Are you going dressed like that? Like, what? Come on. 2 of you are wearing jeans, and the other has 2 sweaters on. That's totally not beach apparel. If you want, I've got a spare pair of swim trunks in my bag that you can borrow for the day. Why don't I just buy us some swimsuits instead? There's a beach stand just over there. Oh, you don't have to. Besides, I don't think Moth would want to go too deep in the wood. It's fine. I won't be long. Before I can respond, Ren is already bounding towards the nearby stall to pick out some swimsuits, leaving me alone with Moth and Jay. Well then. He must be real excited about visiting the cove too, huh? Well, if you guys want to try out surfing later, come and find me. I'll be hanging out here all day. Teo and Leon might even show up later if you want to meet even more of Cece's totally cool and handsome friends. I couldn't help but playfully roll my eyes at Jay's antics. I think we'll pass, but you're headed to the beach already? Oh, you want me to stay? Aw, shucks, Cece. Never mind. See ya. With a gentle shove, I usher Jay in the direction of the beach with a smile. His boisterous laughter slowly fades off as he waves goodbye to Moth and me. It's nice meeting you, Moth. Tell Ren I said bye. He's really nice. He is. In the end, I find myself listening to Moth lore dump about an anime while we wait for Ren to return. And when he does, he comes back with a bunch of bathing suits, towels, and a beach bag bundled up in his arms. He wastes no time in handing me a swimsuit, and before I can tell what's happening, he's already ushering me towards a changing stall and promising to watch the door from outside. Okay, I get it. Like, for me, I know he knows all of my measurements and secrets because he's Ren. But how did he get a suit for a Moth? There's no way he knows their measurements and size requirements and, I don't know, all of that stuff. Plus, he doesn't even know if Moth likes wearing, like, traditionally feminine swimsuits or traditionally masculine swimsuits or swim trunks or Speedos. Who knows? They might rock a pair of Speedos pretty nicely, but I wouldn't buy somebody a pair of Speedos that I just met, so come on now, Ren. A small part of my brain picks up on the fact that the swimsuit is in my exact size, but I put it on the back burner for now so I can focus on changing out of my regular clothes. When I look at all the items Ren got me, I notice that... So this is the fuck you route, right? Like, this is the one where we're intentionally trying to piss him off. But he's the one that picked it. I feel like he's the kind of guy that would give me a head-to-toe burqa if he could, because he would be too jealous of anybody else seeing any part of me. But also, if I put on something that shows parts of my skin, I could be like, look at me, everyone who isn't Ren. Look at how hot I am in my new bikini. And then just piss them the fuck off. So, let's try that. The design on the front somewhat resembles my edgy aesthetic, and it makes me wonder if that was the reason why Ren intentionally picked it out for me. However, another part of me wonders if he only picked the swimsuit because it shows off some of my curves. I know what you are, Ren. I can still hear Moth moving about in the stall next to me, alongside the rustling of fabric and a few expletives, so I take my time changing. But it doesn't take long before I'm fully dressed and ready to throw myself into the ocean. As if to kill time and give everyone else a few more minutes to get dressed, I stuff my regular clothes into my bag extra slowly and swing open the door, only to find Ren still waiting for me on the other side. All done? That was quick. I guess it's my turn now, huh? It's then that I noticed that there were only 2 stalls available, and that Ren really was taking his guarding job seriously. All yours, buddy. You are? The stall, Ren. It's all yours. Oh, right. The stall. Mine. I mean, my turn. It's almost endearing watching the way he puffs his cheek and pouts at his fumble. Ren makes sure to keep direct eye contact with the ground instead of me as he passes by, but he turns around at the last minute and peers at me from behind the door. You really were talking about the stall, right? Actually, never mind. Before I can respond, Ren slams the door shut and hides his flushed expression from me. I can still hear you two, you know. Hi, Moth. Yeah, whatever. You guys better hurry up. I'm almost done here. The walk to the beach is nothing short of eventful, and soon enough, we find ourselves at the entrance to the infamous Giant's Cove. Moth can barely contain their excitement as they take in the familiar scenery before them, and I don't miss the way they start to babble about the striking similarities between the beach scene from AOG and the current scene laid out before them. I've already visited this cove enough times for the excitement to wear off, but watching Moth have that time of their life right now only seems to hype me up even more. When I look back at Ren to see whether he was feeling the same, I find that he's already staring straight at me with a soft look in his eyes. He reaches a hand out to me, but just as he's about to say something, Moth cuts him off. They actually built a monument for Attack on Giants here? That is so cool! Oh, we should take a photo to commemorate. Here. In a blur, Moth excitedly shoves their phone into Ren's hands and tugs me towards the stone statue made in Haruko's likeness. One of their arms hooks over my shoulder to pull me closer to their side, and I can feel their smile grow the moment they press their cheek next to mine. Ren, however, seems to have a bout of confusion as he takes in the scene in front of him, before he snaps out of his daze and lifts Moth's phone to take a photo. The camera flashes every time he takes a picture, but after the 7th flash, Moth decides that's enough and signals for their phone back. Ooh, let's see the results. Watch them all be a picture of him, like he's got the camera flipped. It's just his face. When I peer over Moth's shoulder, I see that the photos Ren took were actually kind of bad. Although the statue and I were perfectly in the frame, Moth seems to be cut out entirely, with only the arm around my shoulders making the shot. Hey, what about me? You're right there, see? My arm, you mean? Yeah. That doesn't count. Here, take another one. This time, Moth curls their arm around my waist and leans closer to my side. I don't miss the way Ren's eyes widen, nor the way he takes a second too long to take the photo, but I chalk it up to him being surprised at Moth's sudden clinginess. There. Better? When Ren hands the phone back to Moth, they hunch over the screen and look over everything with a critical eye. It's almost comical watching them zoom in and out to scrutinize every little detail, but I figured it'd be best to leave them to their own devices once I see them open up a photo editing app. No doubt to cover our faces with AOG stickers before they share it in their family group chat to boast. Turning to my side, I look at Ren with a teasing expression. What about you, Buttercup? Huh? Don't you want a photo to commemorate this moment as well? Without waiting for a response, I playfully pull Ren's phone from his pocket and aim it at my pink-haired companion. Oh! Ooh, he is voguing. You go, girl. Ah! Ren immediately covers part of his face with his hand, but quickly realizes that he isn't wearing his thick cardigan, so the sleeves of his rash guard hardly do much to hide his growing embarrassment. He almost seems camera shy with the way he turns away from me with a soft blush on his cheeks, though he doesn't complain when I start to take a few pictures of my own. In fact, Ren appears to revel in all the attention I'm giving him with the way he indulges in my request with a warm smile. Feeling a sudden urge of confidence, I reach out my hand expectantly and gesture for Ren to place his cheek against it. He wastes no time in leaning down, pressing his face against my hand and nuzzling into my touch. Ren almost looks like a cute puppy like this, and I find myself taking a few more pictures to savor the tender moment. Though admittedly, the eye contact he's giving the camera feels a bit intimate, but I brush it aside for the sake of my rapid heartbeat. If I send these to you, will you make it your lock screen? Ren, can you come here for a second? I need you to compare hairstyles with this statue. My brother thinks Haruko's hair isn't fluffy enough, but... I stifle my laughter at Ren's confused look as Moth continues to rant while they tug him towards the Haruko statue. I look away the moment they ask him to start posing, and it's then I realize I still have his phone in my hands. But just as I move to return it to its rightful owner, the screen immediately lights up and starts to vibrate. Perhaps it's muscle memory kicking in from all the times my own phone would go off, but I find myself unconsciously lifting it up to look at the screen before realizing what I had just done. What did you do? Everything is back to normal again, and it's weird. Who did you offer? Shit. What exactly are you doing right now, Cece? I shouldn't be reading through someone else's private notifications like this. And yet, I couldn't help but feel... I feel weirded out. Ask Ren to leave us alone. Leave us the fuck alone, you weirdo. Couldn't shake off the feeling that something just wasn't right. While the text ultimately seems harmless, and granted, I had barely any context to go off of, my instincts were telling me not to fall for it. With a resolute nod, I make my way towards the group and try to grab Ren's attention. Angel, sorry, did you want to take more photos as well? Here, I'll move out of the way. Actually, I was thinking of taking Moth back to the pier so I can finish up the rest of the tour. I wanted to return your phone first. Oh, right. Thanks. Here, let me get my towel and we can all go back to the... So I was thinking, maybe it could just be me and Moth? You and Moth? Do you want me to come along? Is there something wrong? Did I do something wrong? No, nothing is wrong. I just didn't realize that having the real-life Haruko tagging along would be a bit too overwhelming for them. Once things settle down, maybe we can all meet up again? That was a bald-faced lie, but I hope Ren wouldn't see through it. You really don't want me? I see. Yeah, sure. Okay. I guess I'll see you later then? You have my number anyway. I'll only be a text away. If only he knew. The sounds of lively chatter and vehicles driving by grow louder as we make our way towards the main street. Strange. Everything seems so busy and chaotic today. Was there some kind of event going on? I doubt it, considering Eleanor and I were both in charge of keeping the library's community board up to date. I would have known if there was an event happening. But before I can dwell on it any longer, I suddenly find myself being thrust forward and onto the road by an unknown force before Moth reaches out a hand to pull me back. Ooh! What the fuck? Trying to fucking kill me, you dick? I turn around to confront the offender, but I'm not able to get a good look at their face because of the mask and hoodie they're wearing. Despite that, they seem to exude something sinister, with the way their shoulders hunch forward and their hands remain in their pocket. What if they're hiding a knife in there? Any semblance of a retort dies on my tongue as I take a step back towards Moth. I can feel them reach for my arm, and with one more glance, I turn away and hurriedly pace down the street. What the hell was that? Cece, hey, are you okay? What the hell was their problem? I mean, come on. How hard is it to look where you're going? That dude's a grade A asshole. No, they're the S tier of assholes. Moth's words of reassurance do little to comfort me, but I appreciate hearing them nonetheless. I just couldn't seem to shake off the eerie feeling or calm my rapid heartbeat after that sudden encounter. What if that was my stalker? The person who was... Maybe we should head back to your place? I guess peak hour is starting soon since everyone seems to be in such a hurry. Yeah, good idea. Whether or not Moth picks up on my hesitancy is lost on me. I don't want to worry them, let alone ruin what was supposed to be a fun day for them, so I try my best to mask my fears for their sake. Also, I won't lie, the thought of being within the safety of my own home is a genuinely comforting idea. Having Moth close by somehow seems to boost my confidence as well, and from that thought alone, I give a resolute nod and lead them towards my apartment. Admittedly, even after we'd made it back to my apartment, I still couldn't shake off the sense of fear still lingering inside me. I felt terrible for dismissing Moth's concern for the nth time tonight, and even more so when I shut down their request to watch the latest Attack on Giant episode together. I honestly couldn't get myself in the mood to do so, and whether or not Moth picked up on it, they chose not to say anything. Instead, they offered to head straight to bed so that they could wake up early and spend the morning with me before they had to leave. It made me smile to know that Moth still wanted to spend time with me, so with a promise to do so, I helped prepare my couch for them to sleep on and make my way towards my bedroom. Perhaps out of habit, or was it fear? I triple check to make sure that my window is locked tight and that my bedroom door is shut completely. I'd already quadruple checked that the front door was locked before I turned in for the night, so with a satisfied hum, I crawl into bed and try to get comfortable. Though sleep proves to be difficult given recent events, so I resort to counting the faint ticking of the clock to help me drift away to dreamland. 12, 13, 14. Soon enough, everything starts to fade, and I feel the cold embrace of sleep wash over me. Oh no. Oh no. It's time for all my bad behavior to come bite me in the ass. All of a sudden, a blood-curdling scream rattles the walls and pulls me from my slumber. What the fuck? Was that Moth? The creep from earlier? Shit, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? Panic takes hold of my body and I find myself frozen in place. The logical part of my brain tells me to reach for my phone, to check the cameras and look for any signs of danger. But I can't seem to move. My body runs cold as I sit in my bed, and no matter how many times I reassure myself that the footsteps outside are just Moth, I can't seem to convince my brain otherwise. Shit. The faint glow of the hallway light seeps in from underneath my door, but it soon fades away the moment a shadowy figure appears. I somehow find the strength to turn away, yet when I brace myself for the worst to happen, nothing comes. Instead, there's just an eerie silence and a sense of dread hanging in the air. I know I should probably scream, yell, throw something, anything that would make enough noise to alert my neighbors, yet I can't seem to get any of my limbs to move no matter how hard I try. My body betrays me as it stays rooted in place, and all I can do is lay as still as a statue and hope that this is all some kind of fucked up nightmare. What I would give to just wake up and see my friends again, to see Violet again, and even Ren. If he were here right now, well, I've got some good news and some bad news. Shit. If only I'd ask him to stay. Why did I turn him away? All because of some stupid text message? Even more palpable silence passes, and just when I begin to think this was all in my head... Shit! I can feel the tears start to swell up in my eyes as I grip the edges of my blanket. The doorknob jiggles, taunting me with the thought of the door being unlocked. But the final nail in the coffin is the eerie squeak coming from the hinges and filling the silence. Heavy footsteps make their way towards the bed, and the moment I feel the weight of something sink down onto the mattress, I let out a silent sob. I can feel the intruder place their hand on my blanket before they peel it back, and I muster all my strength to keep it cocooned around me. It was my last line of defense, and I wasn't about to have my final source of safety ripped away from me. Not wanting to look and see how my killer would respond, I squeeze my eyes shut and bury my face in the pillow. But the sound of my window opening draws my attention, and I crack open an eye to see... nothing. Before I can make sense of what I just witnessed, the world around me starts to go blurry. But even as I lose consciousness, I don't miss the faint shape of something large disappearing from the corner of my eye, along with the lingering smell of old paper, something muddy, and the foul stench of blood. Oopsies! Also, what the fuck is this? What? What does this even mean? You did not come here for the tales of old, did you? You are here seeking him. Who? Very well, I shall return him unto you once more, though such leniency will not be seen henceforth. Are you talking about Ren? I don't want him! I don't want him! Do not come here again. You do not belong here. Not until you remember that of which you have forgotten. What does that even mean? What does that mean? Well, shit. Guess we'll just go to our middle path, I guess. I just started day 5, right? And the accounts for Theodore and Olivia, the girl that he threatened to push down the stairs, their accounts have both been terminated. Uh-oh. All right, we read the text from Conan, and we texted Eleanor and Teo. Now we're just throwing our shit, I guess. With that out of the way, I let out a tired sigh before haphazardly throwing my phone back onto the empty space near my bed. Wait, empty space? That reminds me. What happened to Ren? The last thing I remember from last night was us snuggled up on the couch together. Just snuggling. We haven't done anything in this run. We're just chilling. At that, my cheeks immediately grow warm at the thought, and without so much as thinking, I reach for my phone once more to check out the security camera app he installed. I guess it was a good purchase after all, since I could use these cameras to check if Ren was still in my apartment. Looking for the app he installed on my phone, I open it up and navigate towards the camera in my living room. So they actually do have the cameras set up so you can see them. It's just, it doesn't do anything right now yet, but they're working on it. So it's really cool that we actually have this app and can see things. And also this is gonna be fucking terrifying once they start working and then Ren is breaking into our fucking house and we can see him creeping on through. I see the telltale signs of my pillows and blanket on the couch, though what catches my interest is the fact that they were neatly stacked and put away, with no Ren in sight. Curious, I switched to a different camera to find him. He wasn't in my kitchen either, and not near my doorway. There was no point in checking the camera in my bedroom since, well, I'm here already, which only left... As soon as I check out the camera in my hallway, it's then that I notice a familiar pair of blue jeans and a soft cardigan slumped against the wall. Was that Ren? Sitting outside of my door? What was he doing? Perhaps a bit impulsively, I sit upright in bed and call out for him. And almost immediately, I hear the telltale signs of someone clambering around outside my bedroom. It's shortly followed by the faint sound of a throat clearing before a familiar patch of pink hair peeks through the gap in the door. Ren peers in and sheepishly looks at me with a soft smile before he opens the door fully and invites himself inside. Good morning, Cece. Did you sleep well? Ren looks like he wants to say something, but instead chooses to clam up and stare at his feet. I almost want to reach out and ask him to look at me, but I hold back in favor of letting him take the initiative. Still, it doesn't stop me from calling out his name. Ren? Almost immediately, Ren's head whips up as he looks at me with wide eyes. There's a crooked smile on his face this time, and almost timidly, he shuffles on his feet as if deciding whether he can come closer. You asked me to stay last night. But then you started mumbling about not having enough room for something, so I carried you to your bedroom instead, and then you asked me to join you in your bed, but then you said something about the grown-up saying it'd be okay for me to stay, and I didn't really know what to make of that, to be honest. Shit, seriously? Was I really sleep-talking about something that happened when I was a child? But I figured you really did want me to stay, so I ended up camping out in your living room. So don't worry, no one came into your room. Besides me, of course. And I only just woke up, actually. Right. If you still want me to, I can join you and... Actually, no, never mind. Ren looks like he'll combust on the spot if he talks any longer. And as if sharing the same thought, he clams up and awkwardly scratches his jaw. From that reaction alone, I have the slightest inclination as to what he wanted to ask me. Now that I think about it, would it be such a bad idea? Yes. Yes, because this is our medium path. We are not until marriage. I am a good Christian lady. I shall not abide by these shenanigans in my Christian yandere game. You stay away from me. I keep my mouth shut and let Ren linger a little longer by the door. He seems completely unfazed, though, if the way he casually leans against the doorframe and crosses his arms is any indication. It doesn't help that the sunlight from my window illuminates his relaxed demeanor in such an ethereal way, but the moment of peace shatters the second my phone goes off what feels like the 100th time this morning. The sudden noise seems to startle Ren as well, so much so that he ends up knocking something off my dresser just as I press the answer button. Hey, yeah? Are you coming? If it's not too much trouble, could you go to the ferry term? Wait, what was that noise? Oh my god, do you have someone in your bedroom? Damn, see, let me see, who is it? Who? Well, I doubt there's any point in keeping Ren's presence a secret now. Giving him a small gesture, I beckon him closer to the edge of the bed and scoot over so that we can both fit in the frame. But before I properly introduce him to Moth, I figured it'd be fun to tease them a little bit. Surely it won't hurt. Moth, Haruko is finally real. What? What? Hello, it's nice to meet you. Oh my god. Oh my god. What the fuck, C? You seriously weren't joking? Wait, is that actually the submissive and breedable guy you were... Okay, I think we should move on from this topic. Moth, this is Ren. Ren, this is Moth. Nice to meet you, Mr. Submissive and... Moth. What does that mean? Nothing, Pookie Bear. Don't you worry. Pookie Bear? Please don't ask. No, ask her. I'm having way too much fun with this. Hey, tell me, does Cece make you wear Haruko's outfit too? No. Not yet. Not yet? Yet? You've talked about this? No, I just... Well, if she asked, I'm sure I wouldn't say no, and... All right! I think we're done here. Moth, didn't you say you had something important to tell me? Oh, right. Remember how I told you about that drawing raffle I won? You know, the other day when you were in the manga store? Yeah, but you got cut off near the end, though. I couldn't really make out what you were saying after our call disconnected. I did? Weird. Maybe I'm remembering things differently again. Damn. Well, there's no harm in telling you again. You can hear me this time, right? With a laugh, I nod my head while Ren gives a thumbs up from behind my shoulder. Clearly, he's just as invested in our conversation. Loud and clear. All right, drum roll, please. All right, you're coming. We gonna get you. It's then that I realize Ren is still sitting next to me, peering over my shoulder while Moth and I converse. A wave of guilt washes over me, but Moth seems to step in before I can react. Oh, right. The iconic beach scene wouldn't be complete without Haruko, would it? You should bring him with you. I don't mind. My name is Ren, but if it's really all right with Cece too, I wouldn't mind tagging along. Oh, right. You're a big fan of Attack on Giants too. You remembered? Yeah. I really like that anime too, so I don't mind tagging along. If it's okay with you, of course. I'd love to have you with me. Ren almost slams his head against the headboard with how quickly he straightens up as Moth snickers at his reaction in the background. Kiss, kiss, kiss. I'll seriously hang up on you. Moth's teasing calms down the moment I send them a faux glare. Ren seems to find amusement in my words as well, given how the corners of his lips pull into the faintest of smiles. Man, if you two need some alone time, just say so. Goodbye. Don't ever call me again. Hold on. I'll be waiting for you guys at the ferry terminal, but don't make me wait too long. Watching the ocean makes me feel nauseous. Also, I want to be the one who hangs up first. Bye! Alright, see you later, Moth. Well then, I guess it's breakfast to go? With a smile, Ren eagerly nods his head. Alright, come on. The walk along the promenade is awfully quiet, and it has me wondering where the usual crowd of people are. Usually I'd see Jay and Teo hanging around near the food kiosk, but today, no one seemed to be around. This is weird because in the bad one, where I completely just rejected all of his advances, people were fucking everywhere. Everywhere! Like, we left because people were everywhere. Did something happen? And why was nobody answering their phones? It's surely been over a few hours by now, and Eleanor has never been one to screen a text for that long. Teo, too, for that matter, even if he often finds enjoyment in ghosting others. It sure is quiet today. At least we don't have to worry about fighting someone over a spot to put down our stuff. That's true. But we can't go into the ocean wearing these outfits. Here, why don't I buy some swimsuits for us? There's a beach apparel stand just over there. Where's Jay? Oh no, I'm worried. Oh, you don't have to. Besides, I was mostly joking. You already know Moth doesn't like the ocean. It's fine, I won't be long. Before I can respond, Ren is already bounding towards the nearby stall with a slight spring in his step. Well then. It's fine, C. You two can swim if you want. I don't mind sitting under a palm tree or two and catching up on some webcomics. Are you sure? Yeah, besides, now might be a good time to try and conquer my fears. Probably. You know, I recently watched this anime where the main protagonist gets isekai'd to an underwater city. Alright, let's get in our swimsuits. So again, we're going to do this one, and then in the throwing myself at him one, we'll do this one, because I feel like that's more his vibe, you know? Alright, here you go. You can have your... Oh, all yours, babe. See? No buddy today. You're my babe, I guess, or whatever. I don't even think that they've kissed. in this run, but it's okay. It's fine. At my words, Ren's cheeks immediately flush a deep red as he draws closer to me and almost trips over his own feet. You are? All mine? Yeah, you are my boyfriend, aren't you? But I was actually talking about the stall, Ren. Boyfriend? I mean, right. The stall. Mine. Or, my turn. In the stall. Me. It's almost endearing watching the way he puffs his cheek and pouts at his fumble. Alright, go on in there. You really were talking about the stall, right? Yeah, get in there. Shut up. I understand why the offering wouldn't work with O, but did you really need to fish out that... O? Does he mean Olivia? Shit. Yeah, well... Well, let him stick around. This text wasn't nearly as weird as the other text, so... I guess it doesn't make sense for me to be like, oh, you're fucking weird, get away from me. Like, what was I thinking reading private messages like this? Ren didn't deserve to have his privacy disregarded like this. With a resolute nod, I make my way towards the group and call for Ren's attention. Angel! Sorry. Did you want to take more photos as well? Here, I'll move out of the way. Actually, I was thinking about heading to the manga store to check out some of the new merch. Do you want to join us? Oh, and here's your phone. That sounds like a good idea. Here, I'll go get our bags while you finish taking your photos. Let me know when you're ready to go. Almost like a puppy, Ren bounds off towards our belongings and starts to pack them up with a blissful smile on his face. Man, he really is just like Haruko. Gah, I want to turn him into a sticky hand just so I can repeatedly throw him against a wall over and over again. Why? Your levels of cuteness aggression genuinely terrify me sometimes. The moment we reach the main street, I immediately pick up on the lack of, well, noise. Aside from a lone cop car, there were hardly any other cars or people on the street, and most of the stores appeared to be closed. Weird. Was today a public holiday? I doubt it, considering I was initially supposed to work today. But before I can dwell on it any longer, I suddenly find myself being thrust forward. Uh-oh. That dude is still there. Wait, what? Who put... Proves it... That isn't Ren? Well, don't I have egg on my face? Is this the friend that he loaned out his car to, maybe? Uh-oh. This asshole really tried to push me into oncoming traffic and walked off as if nothing happened? Wait, but there's no oncoming traffic, right? There's no people. Was this the person Violet was talking about? The tall build, the hooded jacket, the only thing missing was the crazy amount of belts on their leg. So this was my stalker? I have half a mind to just pull down their mask and hoodie to expose their identity, but I didn't want to cause a scene or make matters worse. Ren, however, seems to have other plans. Before I can react, he surges towards the hooded stranger with a nasty scowl on his face. The fuck's your problem? Not even gonna apologize? When no response comes, Ren reaches for their shoulder to get their attention. All it does is cause them to turn around slightly before they shrug it off and break into a sprint. Everything happens in a blur, and just as the smudge of black fades from my view, Ren's pink hair replaces it as he gently grips my arms to ground me. Are you all right? Did they hurt you? Concerned and worried, couldn't even begin to describe the range of emotions present on his face. Ren peers even closer when I don't respond to his questioning, and in that moment, I find myself too stunned to speak. All of my attention goes towards the warmth radiating from his sudden closeness and the soft, blue eyes peering into mine with so much worry. I can feel Ren's fingers press deeper into my shoulders, not enough to hurt me, but present enough to anchor me, as he pulls me even closer towards his chest. I feel safe being surrounded by his concerned presence, and it was nice to know that he cared so much for my well-being, so much so that he'd willingly pick a fight with some stranger for a simple apology. But the moment only lasts for so long before I realize he's trying to get me to respond. Angel? What's wrong? You okay, C? Do you know them or something? No, I'm fine. They just scared me is all. This has never happened to me before. You sure you're fine? You're still shaking. Want to sit down? Should I call the cops or something? I can barely hear Moth's words over the rapid sounds of my heart beating and the ringing in my ears. I wasn't able to see that person's face because of their mask, but their scent, I could recognize that smell anywhere. It was something unmistakably earthy and muddy, and it felt oddly familiar in some way. So it wasn't Ren that broke into my apartment and potentially killed Moth? Oopsies! Listen, this doesn't mean that I don't suspect Ren. Ren is wrapped up in this shit. Ren is wrapped up with that dude. I know it. I just... he's not right. Something's not right with him. He's still a stalker. But now there's two of them. So... that's not good. And the other guy seems obsessed in a... fuck you, I'm gonna kill you kind of way. And not in a... oh my god, I love you and I just want the best for you kind of way. So... before I can let my thoughts travel any further, I noticed my friends were still staring at me with concerned looks. Not wanting them to worry, I masked my fear with a determined glint in my eye and tried to ease the mood. Maybe we should head home instead. Sure, but are you sure you're all right? You still seem a bit dazed, Cece. Yeah, I'm fine. We should probably get off the street, though. I suppose peak hour is starting soon. That might explain why they were in such a rush. Still, it wouldn't hurt to apologize for bumping into someone. Well, whatever. You said you wanted to head home? She did. So, where do you want to go, Angel? If you like, we can go to my apartment. It's not far from here. Or we can go back to your place if you prefer. Alright, I don't want him on his home turf. Let's go to my place. It's not far from here. And there's cameras. Purely on the happenstance of that asshole being my stalker, I'm sure they wouldn't have the guts to try anything while I still had company over. And somehow, having Moth and Ren nearby seems to boost my confidence, so I boldly commit to my decision with a nod of my head. Is that fine with you guys? Yeah, of course, it's fine. Moth still seems a bit peeved by the person who bumped into me, but they still nod their head at my question. All right then, let's go. I'm not sure who exactly suggested it, but once we settle into my apartment, we all find ourselves huddled in the kitchen with a recipe pulled up on Ren's phone. It was by some miracle that we had all the necessary ingredients in my pantry, though the only thing missing was a tablespoon of sugar. Yeah, 1 single tablespoon. You're gonna go ask Violet for a spoonful of sugar? Oh my god. It's fine. I doubt it'd taste any different whether or not we add sugar. But the recipe calls for sugar. I'm sure the recipe will continue to live a long and prosperous life without it. Didn't you read the chef's family story? The sugar is mandatory. Who reads that whole shit, that like fucking 4 paragraphs of bullshit before a recipe? Like, don't be weird. I honestly skipped over it. Ren genuinely looks heartbroken at the prospect of Moth skipping past the long-winded story about how the recipe had been passed down from generation to generation, or so I assumed, and had to admit the sight was kind of funny. But the bickering could only go on for so long before it started to become something more serious. It's fine, Ren. Besides, we'd only waste time to go to the store just to buy some. I could get some delivered here. And what if Angel needs sugar for something else later? She'd have to go out of her way to buy it. We'd save more time by doing it now. But we'd still have to wait, and it's just a tablespoon. It's not just a table... All right! Look, we shouldn't be arguing over this. Once I speak up, the two of them immediately pipe down. I catch a glimpse of Moth rolling their eyes at Ren's reaction, which was to stiffen his lip, pick at his jaw, and look down at his feet. Well then, what do you think we should do? Don't make Angel decide. Why not? It's not like you're going to agree with me, right? I still think it's okay. I don't mind. Whether or not that was true, it was too late for me to take it back. What should I do? Yeah, let's do a middle ground. I'll just ask Violet for some sugar. Oh, good idea. Man, why didn't we think of that? I can go ask if you like. It's fine. I'll quickly pop over to Violet's place and see if she has any sugar. You guys keep working on the main dish. I'll just be a few minutes. Wait. Now that C is gone, did she ever ask you to wear Haruko's cooking outfit? What? Cece, please come back. Chuckling at their interaction, I make my way towards Violet's door. As soon as the cursive welcome mat comes into view, I clear my throat and gently knock on Violet's door, making sure to avoid the hanging ivy near the peephole. It barely takes 5 seconds before I hear the sound of feet shuffling and my neighbor's head appearing from behind the door. Oh, Cece, hello. Now, isn't this a surprise, Hey, Vi. I'm sorry to bother you. I was just wondering. You don't happen to have some extra sugar I could borrow, do you? Sugar? Well, of course. I was just using some to bake a batch of blueberry cookies the other day. Here, I'll be just a moment. Before I can respond, Violet goes back into her apartment, but leaves the door open for me to peer inside. Once more, I'm hit with the calming aroma of lavender and herbs, though the smell of something luxurious is new. Leaning closer, I pick up on the faint sounds of chatter in the background as well, and it has me wondering, did Violet have a guest over? Curiosity washes over me, and it's then that I notice a pair of high-end heels by the door. Were those Violet's shoes? They looked an awful lot like... I don't have time to wonder for long, however, as Violet soon returns with a small container full of sugar. Are they, Eleanor's sisters? I forget her name. What the fuck is her name? Fuck! Kiara. Her name is Kiara. I wonder if it's Kiara. Ah, that'd be cute. Here we go. Is this enough, or would you like some more? No, this is fine. Thanks, Violet. No problem. Feel free to stop by any time. You're always welcome here. Oh? She follows my gaze towards the pair of heels, and almost shyly she retreats behind the door with a sheepish smile. An old friend of mine is in town for a while. Her name is Kiara. We're catching up and reminiscing about old times together. I knew it. Kiara? You mean Eleanor's sister? I didn't know you two knew each other, or that you guys were friends. Yes, well, it's quite a bit more complicated than that, actually. The faint blush on her cheek says everything. I have half a mind to tease her, but I ultimately go against it, considering how she literally just let me borrow some of her sugar. Still... they'd be cute. A bit more complicated than just friends, huh? Does that mean you're planning on giving Kiara some sugar later as well? Cece, what are you Everything all right there, Violet dear? Kiara's concerned voice can be heard somewhere deeper in Violet's apartment as she shoots me an incredulous look, though it only gets softened by the red blooming on her cheeks. Oh no, everything's fine. I'm just saying goodbye. Well, all right then. Taking the hint, I let out a snort and turned towards my door. All right, I'll stop now. Thanks for the sugar, Vi, and no funny business, you two. With a wink, I give my neighbor 2 thumbs up and head back to my own apartment across the hall. With everything settled, we all go back to making dinner. Admittedly, I was a little wary of letting Ren watch the stove, considering how distracted he was with something on his phone, yet he seems to be doing well so far. Moth, however, is all too happy to wash the dishes, which leaves me in charge of dumping the remaining vegetables into the pan while Ren stirs. You know, C, if you were a vegetable, you'd be a cucumber. Boo. Cringe. Well, if you were a potato, you'd be a sweet one. You think I'm sweet? Ugh, you two are acting like an old married couple now. Gross. Can we go back to the conversation about Ren not knowing the difference between a cucumber and a zucchini? Because it's kind of funny watching him. Married? It's like he didn't hear a word Moth said. We really look like we're married? Ren? Your hand is getting awfully close to the flame. Shit, I didn't notice. You didn't notice? Now that I'm here thinking about it, Ren did have quite a number of strange markings littering parts of his hands. Some look like deep cuts, while others closely resemble inflamed blemishes and burn marks. Did something happen to him in the past? Is that why he wasn't able to feel the heat coming from the stove? Before I can ask, Ren seems to notice my inquisitive gaze fixated on his hands and beats me to the punch. Curious? I once said that I'd tell you about my entire life story, didn't I? All you have to do is ask, Angel. Was he really being genuine right now? If so, alright then, how'd you get those burn marks? There's a flash of something in Ren's blue eyes as he steps closer and fills the space between us. He effortlessly cages me in between his chest and the flat surface behind me before he leans down and lowers his voice to a hushed whisper that sends a shiver down my spine. This is so uncomfortable for Moth. Poor Moth. That's too much. Like, dude. You'll have to keep this secret between you and me, okay? It's pretty embarrassing. And no telling your friend either. Nodding my head, I try my best to focus on Ren's words and ignore the way his unique scent floods my senses and has me unconsciously leaning closer for more. Well, when I was a kid, I went camping with some friends from school. It was our first time doing something like this, so we didn't have much experience. I guess kid me wanted to prove just how reliable and capable he could be, so I volunteered to start the campfire while my friends pitched the tent. big mistake. The fire got way out of hand, and before I knew it, the only thing I could feel was the flames scorching my skin and this horrible burning sensation tearing me up. The heat ended up marring most of my arms, and I suffer a lot of nerve damage from it, and now it's practically left me unable to feel most things. And what's worse is that my nerves continue to deteriorate with each passing day, no matter how hard I try to prevent it from happening. It's reached a point where I can barely feel anything at all. As if to prove a point, I hear Ren's hand grip the counter by my side, almost alarmingly tight. But I guess that's why I always like touching you. It's sad, isn't it? Someone who can hardly discern things by touch no matter how hard they try, yet always yearning to see just how much they can still feel. I want to experience everything I can before it all goes away, and you make it possible. Wow, after hearing all of that, it makes me want to... Alright, this is too intimate. We'll just... As if testing Ren's words, I silently reach for his hand on the counter and grasp it tightly in my own. His own eyes widen in surprise before I feel a puff of air against the shell of my ear. When I glance up, I notice the way Ren's gaze seems fixated on the way our fingers are laced together, as his expression shifts into an almost wistful smile that tugs at the corners of his lips. But before I can open my mouth to speak, the soft and intimate moment is abruptly interrupted, leaving my words unvoiced and hanging in the air between us. Dude, watch what you're cooking! Although dinner ended up being a little toasty, it does little to sour the rest of our evening, despite the slight pout that lingers on Ren's features. We decide to eat in the living room so that we could watch AOG, and eventually we blaze through 14 episodes, and even a few MeTube theory videos, before the events of the day slowly started to catch up to us. Moth was the first to let out a yawn, and eventually the rest of us fell victim to it. I didn't want to leave the warmth of my blankets, but someone needed to turn my couch into a temporary bed for Moth to sleep in. Looking back at them, I see that they're already halfway to dreamland, given the way their head was awkwardly thrown over the seat of the recliner with drool peeking out from the corner of their lip. Getting up as quietly as I can, I silently tiptoe towards my bedroom to retrieve a few spare pillows and a blanket, but what I didn't expect was for Ren to follow close behind. His presence practically startles me, and it takes all my willpower not to yell out in surprise. Had he always been so stealthy? You'd think that with his large and lanky frame, he'd be a little more noisy, right? As if noticing how quiet I've suddenly become, Ren offers to fill the silence. Sorry, I just wanted to see if you needed any help. Here, I can carry these for you and help your friend get set up. Did you want to get changed in the meantime? Sleeping in that might be a little uncomfortable. Oh, sure, thanks, but... I can easily distinguish the concern in his voice, but my thoughts were elsewhere at the moment. I can't believe it took me this long to realize, but where was Ren going to sleep? Would he mind sharing the bed with me? I mean, we've both been really adamant about Ren being my boyfriend, and he's shown no complaints up until this point. Would he mind? Deciding I won't get my answer by simply thinking about it, I turn my attention back to Ren once more. Do you want to sleep with me tonight? Sleep with you mean like... You know, or did you mean... I was talking about sharing a bed with me, you dork. Oh, right, yeah. Yes, that's fine. I don't mind. But what about you? Are you really okay with that? Alright, nah, we're good. You go sleep out there. It's fine. We've been really nice to you today, so we need to take that one step back for the neutrality, right? On second thought, maybe it'd be better for you to sleep on the recliner. I wouldn't want to accidentally kick you in my sleep. Oh, that's fine. And I wouldn't really mind if you did. Kick me, I mean. I probably wouldn't even notice. Thanks for being so understanding. And sorry for being so wishy-washy. No, I get it. Today's been a lot for you, huh? Especially because of that weirdo from earlier. Yeah. I suppose you want to go to bed early then? In that case, I'll let you get changed and bring these pillows to your friend before settling in myself. Good night, Cece. Good night, Ren. Settling into bed, I let out a deep sigh and sink deeper into my pillow. Today had been an eventful day, to say the least, but despite everything, I was glad that Moth seemed to enjoy themselves. All I wanted was for them to have a fun and memorable experience here in Corland Bay, much like I did all those years ago. Nothing could replace those fond memories of me exploring the wonders of the town on my own as a child, even going as far as Lake Blue Moss before an adult would find me and tell me it was time to go home. Thinking back on that memory, wasn't there someone else with me? I remember leaving the playground to venture deeper into the woods, far enough that I could see the actual lake itself, and there would always be someone waiting there for me. Was it Leon? It was him, right? I honestly couldn't remember anyone else from my childhood. But what about the child with the pigtails and colorful bandages all over their body? Was that Leon? Somehow that didn't feel right. Well, all this thinking wasn't doing me any good. I had to be up early if I wanted to catch up with Moth before they left. Sighing once more, I turn on my side and try to count sheep. Eventually it works, as I soon find myself falling into a deep, comforting slumber. Hey, nobody died this time, so go us. All right, I guess we can really lean into it now and see if there are any changes. Come on. Were you gonna ask if you can join me in bed? Yes? No, wait, I mean, you don't mind? Because I don't mind standing here. Honest, you can't even notice the draft, and I don't mind the sunlight directly hitting my eyes at all. Come here, Ren. Almost like a puppy, he immediately makes a beeline towards me, but not before closing the door and waiting for me to lift the blankets up. I suppose that's his way of making sure I really wanted him to stay in my bed. Aw. Not wasting another second, Ren joins me underneath the duvet and makes himself comfortable beside me. Hi. Hey. I feel like we've done this dance before. Maybe once or twice. Your bed is just as warm as last time. That's usually what happens when someone sleeps in it. I don't miss the way he pulls the blanket closer to his face with a warm smile. Funny, I sometimes do the same thing whenever I pull my clothes from the dryer. There's just something about the warmth and soothing sense that makes me feel happy, and it makes me wonder if Ren is feeling the same. Though admittedly, it was a bit weird knowing that they're my sheets and not his own, but Ren's eccentric nature has been growing on me these last few days. Somehow, this didn't really faze me anymore. Ren, however, seems to have different thoughts. As if realizing what he had just done, his eyes grow as wide as saucers before he whips his head in the opposite direction and feigns interest in the wall. There's a prominent blush spreading across his cheeks as he clears his throat and pulls the blanket down again. Before I can react, my phone goes off. Alright, hello, Moth. Who's in your bed? Hello? Yes, you. I can see your arm. Alright, let's fuck with her. Heart goes real. What? Oh, hello. Man, who knows what you two were getting up to in bed before I called. Goodbye. Don't ever call me again. Alright, we'll go get you. Alright, this swimsuit is chaste as hell. The design on the front somewhat resembles my comfy aesthetic, and it makes me wonder if that was the reason why Ren intentionally picked it out for me. He also seems to understand that I don't normally show much of my skin in public, and especially when it comes to wearing a swimsuit at the beach. And while it was greatly appreciated, it did come across as a bit odd. I mean, how did he even know this about me? Did I mention it in passing at some point? Whatever. I'll make a mental note to ask him about this earlier. I can still hear Moth, yeah. Seems like that was the correct choice there for this one. Alright, let's be really fucking rude to our guest. I'm actually not quite done yet. Do you want to share my stall? Almost immediately, Ren's cheeks turn a bright shade of red as he practically chokes on his own spit. Join you? Are you sure? I could wait outside until you're done. I don't mind. Really. Besides, that stall probably won't fit the both of us. He acts as if this isn't the run where we've banged every day since we've met. Oh, for Haruko's sake, just use her stall. Moth's words catch us both off guard before Ren turns his gaze back towards me and pairs it with a sheepish smile. Figuring that his timidness was holding him back from taking the initiative, I move to the side and silently beckon him closer with a wave of my hand. And almost shyly, Ren stumbles forward and tries his best to squeeze inside the stall without disrupting me, despite his large frame. As if to offer him some sort of comfort and breathing room, I give Ren a reassuring smile and turn my back. Don't worry, I won't look. I wouldn't mind if you did. What was that? I said I won't look either, so don't mind me. Why all of a sudden he doesn't mind? What changed from like the day before where if you play the naughty parts, if you're 18 or older, and you play the naughty parts, there's a part where he blindfolds you before doing the do so that you don't see him, like see his torso and chest and stuff. So I wonder what's changed from then to now. I can still hear you two, you know. Hi, Moth. Yeah, whatever. I'm guessing you're the reason it's placated again. Also, gross, dude. Don't tell me you went back and fished out his... Uh-oh. I mean, it's weird. It's fucking weird, but it's fine. that one was a little bit weird. It's okay. It's alright. It's fine. It's fine. Ignore it. We're gonna push past it. We're just gonna push past it. Alright, let's go to Ren's place, I guess. I felt a lot more comfortable going back to Ren's apartment instead of my own. I don't want to risk Moth's safety either, so I try my best to convince myself that this really is a good idea after all. With a resolute nod in my head, I turned to Ren with a meek smile. Would it be alright if we go to your apartment? Yes, of course. It's totally fine. It's not far from here anyway. Moth still seems a bit peeved by the person who bumped into me, but they still nod their head at my question. Alright then, let's go. Soon we all arrive at Ren's apartment. The elevator ride to his floor is just as slow and tacky as last time, yet Moth doesn't seem to mind it in the slightest. In fact, they seem to be wholly engrossed with their surroundings, much like I had been the very first time I visited Ren's place. Stepping inside, I noticed that my slippers from last time were waiting by the door, and the sight alone sends a wave of appreciation through my body. Did Ren leave them out for me? As cheesy as it sounds, it almost feels like coming home to my own apartment. But it's Moth's awestruck voice that pulls me back to the present, and I watch in silence as they take in the scene before them. Funny, was this how I looked when I first arrived here? Oh my god. What kind of entryway is this? And is that marble flooring? Dude, you can afford this much marble? I didn't buy it. It came with the apartment. And so did the rest of the furniture, or most of it. That's a whole lot of marble. I literally said the same thing. Right? Look at all of this. It's just marble. Jeez, I guess I skipped the episode where Haruko became a millionaire. Like I said, I'm not Haruko. Are those Duchi slippers? Since when could you afford those? These? They belong to Ren. He let me borrow them the first time I came here. Oh, are there any spare slippers for Moth too? I'll have a look. You have more than one pair? Shit, sorry, I probably shouldn't be so loud, huh? You're fine. Ren doesn't have any neighbors. Or at least he didn't until recently, I think. Sure sounds like you really used to living here, huh? So, when are you moving in? No. Now that I think about it, the idea is rather tempting. Ren already seems fine with the idea of being my boyfriend. Surely he'd enjoy being my roommate, too. But before I can get carried away with these fantasies, I remind myself why I'm purposefully trying to distance myself from Ren in the first place. I didn't want him to get involved with my personal problems, nor did I want to give my stalker any more ammunition to use against me. In fact, I mean, look at all this space. If you won't live here, I will. How many rooms are there? How many kitchens does this place have? Is there a cinema room? Ooh, what about... Here, try and see if these fit you. Ren's voice cuts Moth off as he throws a pair of shoes onto the ground. Oh, they're a little tight around the toes, but comfy. That's too bad. I don't have any other sizes. You know, they look like they might fit me better, actually. Here, want to swap? Moth's slippers definitely appear smaller than the pair I'm currently wearing, but they didn't look too uncomfortable. That much is evident when we swap, and Moth seems to be feeling all the more better in a larger pair of slippers, if their wide, appreciative smile was anything to go by. You don't mind? Not at all. Actually, maybe I do have another pair that'll fit you better, see? Here, I'll go and check again. It's cool, Ren. Don't worry about it. Be nice to my friends. As we make our way into the living room, Moth suggests ordering takeout so that we can eat while catching up on the recent episodes of Attack on Giant. It's almost comedic watching Ren and Moth huddle over a phone to look through the menu, and I nearly end up letting a laugh slip through when they start bickering over the meal deals not actually being that good of a deal. Leaving the two of them to their own devices, I plop onto the couch with a sigh and absentmindedly clutch one of the throw pillows. Odd. I swear I have the exact same cushions on my couch back at home. Did Ren and I always have the same taste in decor? And, since when did Ren start decorating his apartment? Last I checked, everything in here came pre-furnished, tacky decor and all. Before I can get too deep in my thoughts, Moth and Wren join me on the couch once more to fill me in on what they ordered, and what they got for me as well. Moth seems all too happy to talk about the fried rice dish they ordered, before rambling on about how much fast food joints never usually have it in stock, all while Wren gets his television set up for us. The next thing I know, we're almost 2 episodes deep until our food arrives. It takes another 3 more before we're all finished up with our meals, and soon enough, Moth is relaxing on the floor with a bunch of pillows surrounding them, while Wren and I remain on the couch. Here we go! It's finally beach episode time! You guys have to see the outfit the animators put him in. It wasn't in the manga, but I still think it's cool. Wait, should we turn the lights off for maximum effect? Moth's voice fills the silence as they get up, flick off the light switch, and start to pump themselves up for the opening song, yet my mind can't help but wander towards today's events. I still couldn't shake off the encounter from earlier, or the fact that I now had solid proof of a stalker who wouldn't leave me alone. Still, going to Wren's place was definitely a smart idea. There's an entire team of security personnel down in the reception, and you need a specific key card to make it past the first floor. Now knowing this, I wouldn't have to worry about Moth's safety as much. And for some reason, well, I don't know why, but I always seem to feel better whenever Wren is around. Speaking of, I cast a sneaky glance in Wren's direction, only to find him sprawled out on the couch. He'd offered to share his blanket earlier, after I offered mine to Moth, and I couldn't help but notice how much of it he'd given to me. In fact, only half of his leg was covered, and with winter right around the corner, I was worried he was too shy to admit that he was feeling cold. I mean, he's also wearing 2 fucking sweaters. I think he's fine. I'm wearing 1 sweater and I'm fucking dying. Without thinking, I lean over and gently drape a portion of the blanket across Wren's lap in an attempt to offer him some warmth. But as I do, my hand inadvertently brushes against the back of his, and it's then that I notice just how cold his skin feels. A surge of concern washes over me, and I have half a mind to reach out to grasp his hands in my own, but Wren's immediate reaction keeps me rooted in place. Almost unashamedly, his gaze shifts towards me before he sends a curious look, and when he finally speaks, his voice is barely above a whisper, almost getting drowned out by the noise coming from the television. "It's okay, Angel. You can have it. I'm not the one with frozen hands. What kind of woman would I be if I let my boyfriend's hands go cold?" Not giving Wren any time to respond, I reach out and gently cup his freezing hands in my own. "But your hands are cold too." "Wren, shh!" We both glance in Moth's direction for any signs of disruptions, but they seem far too engrossed with whatever is happening on the television to fully turn around. "You're cold. I should have noticed earlier. Here, I'll go turn up the heater." "No, it's okay. Here, why don't we..." Eleanor once told me it's more efficient to stay warm by sharing body heat. Why don't we sit a bit closer? Closer? Yeah, sure. Okay. Seriously, Wren, quiet. Without missing a beat, I throw the blanket over our shoulders and scoot closer to Wren until my arms and thighs are brushed up against his. But Wren takes it a step further by pulling my legs over his lap and resting one of his hands over my knee to prevent me from falling. And just as I dare to take a glance in his direction, Moth chooses, now, of all times, to turn around and talk to us. Finally, we get to see Haruko! I doubt they realize what Wren and I were currently doing in the dark. In fact, Moth seems all too engrossed with the TV as Haruko's grand entrance flashes on the screen, yet I couldn't help but let my mind wander towards Wren. Being this close to him, I can practically feel the warmth radiate from his body, yet all I can focus on is the way his thumb rubs small circles on my knee while his other hand plays with the loose material of my bottoms. Almost daringly, I sneak a glance in his direction, only to find him staring at me with a gentle expression in return. "I thought you wanted to watch the beach episode?" I am. "The TV is that way." With a teasing smile, Wren points towards the television, though the look in his eyes practically challenges me to look away. "Okay, here we go. We're going to the beach now." There, on the television in all its glory, is the iconic Giant's Grove we visited earlier today, and Moth can barely contain their excitement. "Oh my god, look! There's that massive rock arch we saw! Damn, they really did take a whole lot of inspiration from Corlin Bay." They're not shy with the way they languidly flop over on the carpet and pull one of the cushions to their chest to get more comfortable. But the moment is fleeting as Haruko soon appears on the screen in a magical pink flurry. Almost instantly, Moth rolls onto their stomach instead, kicking their legs and practically melting over the side of Haruko in a swimsuit. "His muscles, look! I yearn to lick the crevices of his... Okay." Suppressing a laugh, I glance at Wren, who seems to be sporting a worried, yet just as flushed, look on his features. And here I thought your fondness for Haruko was unmatched. Those are some big words coming from someone who's rocking the same hairstyle as him. What? What does that mean? Hey, what are you two whispering about over there? Hey now, that's not nice. There's somebody here. There's somebody present in front. That's not nice. That's not respectful. God damn it. We were just wondering if Haruko's outfit is going to... The sudden urge to tease Ren washes over me once more, and before I can stop myself, I trail my hands up his leg, getting increasingly close to the front of his jeans with every inch. Ren practically chokes on his spit the moment my hand lands on his upper thigh, as one of his own moves to circle my wrist, and just when I think he's about to move my hand away, he instead lets it rest there. Stealing a quick glance in his direction, I can't help but let out a teasing puff of laughter at just how red his cheeks have become. But in my moment of weakness, Ren unexpectedly turns it into an opportunity to wrap his arms around my waist and pull me directly onto his lap. Where did this sudden burst of confidence come from? As I shift to get comfortable, yep. See you in a second. Poor Moth. That was very rude. I'm a very bad host. When I come to, the first thing I notice is the comforting weight of the blanket still covering me on the couch, alongside Ren's familiar presence by my side. I fell asleep on the couch, after very, very rude things were going on. The soft glow emitting from the TV casts a soft light in the otherwise darkened room, and it's then I realize that the second episode of AOG is currently playing on the screen. Damn, did I really doze off long enough for the series to loop? Weren't there at least 40 episodes? With a soft groan, I adjust myself into a more comfortable position to survey the rest of my surroundings, only to realize that my movement must have stirred Ren awake as well. Glancing behind me, I immediately notice his sleepy expression and tidy appearance, which means he must have taken the time to fix both our clothes at some point during my slumber. An appreciative smile pulls at my features, one that Ren happily returns with his own, before the sound of a tired, drawn-out yawn breaks the silence and ruins the tender moment. Turning back around, it's then that I notice Moth slowly beginning to drift off from their spot on the corner, if the drool coming from the corner of their mouth was any indication. It must be bedtime for all of us. But after everything we'd just done, the last thing I wanted to do was leave the warmth of Ren's body, but the thought of a comfy bed with plenty of leg room was calling my name. I barely have any time to weigh my options, however, as Ren immediately picks up on my drowsy demeanor and offers to show us to our rooms so that we can rest. Eventually, he leaves Moth and me to settle in for the night, claiming that he has one last matter to take care of. As I step into my own room, I notice that it's just as gaudy and extravagant as the rest of the apartment, furnished with the most ornate decor and bold color choices I've ever seen. But just when I think it couldn't get any worse, I survey the rest of the room and come face to face with the most unfortunate revelation. It didn't come with its own bathroom. Damn it. With a grumble, I step back into the dark hallway, borrowed toothbrush and clothes in hand, and prepare myself for the inevitability of getting lost in Ren's endless maze of an apartment. All of this for a single bathroom. I have no doubt that this place has at least 4 restrooms, but the chances of me finding even one seems laughable. Stumbling around yet another corner, I come across Moth, hunched in front of a door with a frown on their face. Moth? Whoa! Sorry, were you looking for the restroom too? Nah, my room has a private ensuite. I'm actually looking for something else. A private what? Where was mine? I'm looking for Ren's cosplay room. Wait, hold on a sec. Are you snooping? Moth! Shh! And I am not snooping. I'm just trying to find where he keeps all of his Attack on Giants merch. I'm sure a small peek wouldn't hurt. I watch as Moth reaches for the door once more, only to be met with an audible click and a stiff handle. Oh? Damn. Locked. Well, what did you expect? Maybe he has a spare key somewhere. You're not seriously still thinking of going through his stuff. And never mind that. This place doesn't use physical keys anyway. You have to use a key card to access everything. Ren explained it to me a while ago. So, does that mean you have one? I'm not going to snoop through his stuff. You won't, but what if I do? Moth. Cece. Come on! What if he's one of the lucky people who got Haruko's limited edition sword? You're seriously not interested? Even the slightest bit? Okay, so maybe I was just a tiny little minuscule bit curious, but that spark of interest didn't justify breaking into a locked room without the other person's knowledge. And while it technically wouldn't be breaking in if I used a keycard to unlock the door, Ren still trusted me enough to give me one. Not Moth. Me. Besides, I already did my own snooping yesterday, and look where that got me. Look, instead of breaking in, why don't you go and ask Ren first? I'm sure he wouldn't mind giving you the full tour of his collection, if he even has one. You've got a point. Man, why didn't I think about that? Think about what? All of a sudden, Ren appears from behind one of the dark hallways and scares the living shit out of us. Whoa! Hey, Pookie Wookie, we were just... Moth wanted to look at your Haruko collection. What? Hey! In that room? Why would I... Oh. Well, this is a bit embarrassing, but that room isn't... It's not finished yet. It's a mess. A mess? What was he talking about? Probably full of fucking blood and body parts. Fucking murderer ass bitch. Once it's more presentable, I'll be sure to invite you back and give you the full tour. Right. Sorry. There's nothing to be sorry about. He truly is the real-life embodiment of Haruko, and... Wait, didn't he have a line similar to that in the manga? Moth must have been on the same wavelength as me, since their mood immediately shifts from embarrassment to excitement, before they shoot me a look as if to say, "You heard that too, right?" But before I can respond, Ren cuts me off with a timid laugh. Anyways, was there anything else you needed? C was looking for the bathroom earlier. She needed a mirror to check out all those fresh hickeys on her neck. I wonder how those got there. Hey! Oh, but calling me out for wanting to see his Haruko collection was fine, huh? The bathroom? Of course, it's just down the hall near the kitchen. Here, I can show you. Follow me. Leaving Moth to their own devices, I quickly catch up to Ren and follow him down the hallway. Soon enough, the events of the day slowly catches up and leaves me feeling tired and drained. Man, today had been a lot, huh? But just as I settle into bed, I hear a faint knock coming from the door. Was it Ren? I let out a faint "come in" and wait for my visitor to emerge. To my surprise, it was Moth that appears from behind the door with a sheepish smile on their face. Hey, I didn't wake you, did I? Sorry, I just find it hard to fall asleep when everything is quiet. I'm used to my younger siblings bickering in the room next door or hearing someone playing video games downstairs. Do you mind if can I chill with you for a while? I promise I'll sleep in my own bed later. Without missing a beat, I lift the covers and pat the spot next to me, and with a relieved smile, Moth crawls into the bed and lets out a faint hum once they sink into the mattress. They seem content lying on their back, so I do the same and look up at the ceiling. The silence that follows is momentary, seeing as Moth soon speaks once more, only this time their voice is much softer than before. Thanks for today, C. No one's really gone out of their way to make me feel so included, seen. I'm not really sure what word I'm trying to look for, but I really appreciate everything you've done. I mean, you of all people know I don't have many friends. I have trouble talking to people, but I'm glad I could get along with you and Ren this easily. Oh yeah, you didn't seem to have any trouble talking to Ren. Probably because his personality reminds me so much of Haruko. Though, I didn't think the whole light academia fashion would suit him, but weirdly enough, it kinda does. Honestly, it's like Ren walked straight out of my dreams or something. I mean, he's practically a walking amalgamation of all of my recent interests. How weird. It has to be so coincidental, right? Must be all the manifesting you've been doing in your DMs. Oh, please. Manifesting? I think you're the one who's been doing that. I mean, you always ask for Haruko to be real, and look what happened. True, but I distinctly recall asking for him to be my husband as well. I guess whoever was listening missed that part. Manifest harder. Moth can't seem to contain their laughter at my words, and they end up clamping a hand over their mouth to silence their sounds, lest they wake up Ren. The corners of their eyes crinkle as they turn to look at me with a smile, and I find myself mirroring their expression. Good night, Cece. Thanks for today. Night, Moth. At that, they roll onto their back once more and pull the covers up to their chin. The silence returns once more, and I'm left to stew in my own thoughts. Today had honestly been a lot of fun. Plus, it was nice to know that Moth enjoyed themselves this much. I have no doubt that I'll be sad once they leave for the city tomorrow, but I didn't want to ruin this moment with my sappy feelings. With one last smile, I turn on my side and slowly drift off to sleep. Aww, that would have been nice if I wasn't such a shitty friend. Alright, that was day 5, and we're already starting to see some death scenes. Or I guess hear them from the other room as we're in bed. 9 days to go. Things are ramping up. And I'm very confused. Because I could have sworn that Ren was the one with the hoodie breaking into my apartment. But he knows everything about me and the things that I have in my apartment and what things I'm running low on and all of that shit. So he's been in my apartment before I ever invited him into my apartment. But then there's the other guy. So, like, who's breaking in when and why? And why didn't Ren seem to recognize the guy in the hoodie? Are they from 2 different people? Like, I thought that was his friend, but he didn't seem to recognize him, was willing to fight him. What's happening? This is weird. Anyways, respect other people and don't canoodle with others if you don't have the consent of the third person in the room, because that's just shitty. That just makes you a shitty person. And I'll see you later.